Get yourself in the lotus position, because I've got no plan, no pretense, and definitely no bypassing. I'm Josh Connolly, and this will probably be dysfunctional. It's your favorite time of the week. Again, it's time for Dysfunctional with me, Josh Connolly. And today I'm giving you a bit of a bite-sized episode. So it is Friday at the point of recording this. I often record these on a Monday. But next week, have a very busy week. I'm at Heathrow on Monday, and then in Edinburgh on Tuesday, and Newcastle Wednesday, London Thursday. So it's a very, very busy week. And I sort of realised today that I need to get this recorded for you today. So here I am recording it for you today. So a bit of a backstory there. And so I thought I'd make it bite-sized because we've done 17 episodes of this now. And I've done one episode like this. One of those episodes was like what's going to be today. And I have to do subjects that like I can feel passionate about and lean into. So we are getting very close to the point of bringing guests on here. To tell you the truth, I'm so busy right now, and seemingly all of the time it's the fitting them all in. But we can do that. We're going to start doing that and start bringing the guests on. I was like really nailed on, like if I was going to get guests on, that they would have to be in person. But I've changed my tune on that a little bit, and we're going to do some online to make it easy and be able to fit them in, and try and do some in person as and where we can. So today I'm just gonna, whenever I get questions, I put them all into a folder, and basically I'm just going to answer a few of them today, and it'll be a nice bite-sized episode for you, and we'll go from there. So most of the questions I get are about dysfunctional childhoods. So a lot of it will be sort of toxic parent related and growing up in dysfunction. So, okay, let's go with the first question that I can see. I'm just going to randomly pick them out. What does true emotional independence from them look like for me? It's a really good question. And actually, look, let me just start by saying, like, this person's asking about true emotional independence from a dysfunctional or toxic parent. So I understand that the question here is probably like, how do I come away from that enmeshment? How do I come away from that place where I don't really know where their wants and needs finish and where my wants and needs begin? And so how do I come away from that? And how do I stop allowing a toxic parent who seems to not be able to care one iota about me? How do I stop still having my kind of lifetime decisions and moments of my life impacted and affected by my parent? I'm going to take that as being the question, but the part that I want to just stipulate before I sort of answer that is that we don't necessarily want complete emotional dependence, because we're supposed to be interdependent human beings. I do believe that we should have a core circle of people that we can share in our emotional struggles and feel held with. All right, so let me just kind of highlight that before I answer the question in the way that I will. But true emotional dependence from them will look like, and I believe that you can get here, but I do believe that it's going to take a period and a process of work. And I would argue that if you've got a really sort of toxic and abusive, horrible parent who is still out there smear campaigning you and still out there, doing the thing, then it that makes it even harder. And so I talked about, when they're not here anymore before in previous podcasts, but it might get easier when they're not here anymore to be able to find some of that emotional independence from them. But when you've truly found it, it will mean that in most decisions in your life, you're able to make free from worrying about what it might mean for them. And I think even the realization that you may still be making even small life decisions and being influenced by a worry or a concern what your parent might think is a big start. And so I would say to this person, the fact that you realize that you need the emotional dependence, the fact that you noticed and recognize that you are sort of emotionally enmeshed with them is a great start. How do I hold compassion for their trauma without excusing the ways they hurt me? Yeah, look, that is a really good question. Firstly, I don't think you have to find compassion for them and why they're like it. I don't think you have to. You may, and working towards that may help you, right? But don't get caught up in this kind of performative, spiritual and emotional healing that you see online, where it's like, the idea is to present yourself as being most healed, and you do that by showing that you're not angry or you're not upset, and you can see from a loving perspective why everybody is like they are. I do believe that there are people out there that reach that and get to this place where they are able to see everyone from a loving angle. I believe that, to a degree, I see people from a loving... No, that's not fucking true, is it? I probably don't. Because I'm a human. So, you don't have to reach the ultimate ideal of seeing your abuser through a compassionate lens. You can. I think it can be useful that some people do. I think it's great to work towards love and compassion where you can and where it's possible. And if you get there, I think it's great. But don't be fooled by these motherfuckers online who show up all of the time, love and light, and don't get angry about anything. I think you should be fucking wary of those people. But all of that said, if you do want to try and find compassion for them, then give yourself time, man, and know that you can have a part of you that feels compassion for them and a part of you that thinks, do you know what, you fucking deserve all of the bad things that you get in your life. This is what it is to be a human being. I'm not going to be here and pretend that I'm like able to see people from love and light, and because do you know what? I feel like I've done a lot of work on myself. I've been hard at this for a number of years now, and I've reached a place where I'm more comfortable with the kind of messiness and the range of things that I think and feel as a result of my experiences. And yeah, sit me down and think, can you find compassion for somebody who is horrible? And if I zoom out, see their whole life, yeah, maybe I could, man. Maybe I could. And if they were abusing me, or they're fucking still out there trying to abuse me, then I'm not... Do I need to find compassion for them? Maybe you do. But don't push yourself as if it's a must. And so, look, let me come back to the question again. I've gone off on a bit of a rant. But compassion and consequence can coexist, right? You can have compassion for why somebody is like they are, and then also put some boundaries in place. Here's a great question here. What parts of myself do I suppress in relationships out of fear of being too much? Really good question. You know, throughout my whole life, I'll answer this personally. Throughout my whole life, I felt like I'm too much. And actually what I do is I look for evidence that I am. So then whenever I be myself and I feel like being myself has like agitated somebody or annoyed somebody, or I can just subtly see that they think it's a bit weird, you'll see that part of me die within that relationship straight away. And then what happens is, as you get further and further and further into relationships, I lose who I am. I don't know how to be, because all of the kind of parts of myself feel like they're too much, and I don't want to show them, and I don't want to express them, and then I lose them. So I really understand the question. Is what I'm saying, and I think it's a really... I'm just speaking from personal experience here. I'm trying to sort of like find my words. It's really hard, man, to feel like you're too much all of the time, you know, because you lose that. And we do live in a society that like has these kind of social norms and these kind of structures. And if you don't fit into them, or you don't feel like you fit into them, then you can always feel like you're too much. I always feel like I'm too much for people. And people will say that you're not, and then they fucking show you that they think that you are. So it's not easy, and so if you're asking me which parts of yourself do I think you do, probably I think you probably look for evidence that all parts of yourself are too much, and find it if you look hard enough everywhere. So then you end up suppressing all of yourself. This is why I always say in the spaces that I create, take up space today. You know, when people do Inner You, my online program with me, or more recently when we do Deeper You, I say take up space. I say, you've bought this fucking course, right? You've invested in yourself by buying this course. Don't come here and try to impress me because you've bought it off me. Take up space, man. Like, you know, take up space. And I say that, like, I tell people to, like, embody a sense of, do you know who the fuck I am? And that might sound a little bit strange and a bit, but what I'm doing is I'm like polarizing you to the other end so that you can try and find something in the middle there, so that you can, like, be yourself, man. You deserve to be unapologetically you and be loved in that way. And you'll find people, you'll find your tribe. If you risk being yourself, you'll find your tribe. Somebody said, I often feel like I don't even know what I like. And I've spent my whole life defining myself in opposition to them. Yeah, again, really relatable. I mean, I say I built a whole personality and a whole persona around being what everybody else needed me to be. And I've talked before about how that ends up leaving you feeling really lonely, right? Everybody thinks you're amazing because you become a fucking expert at being what they want you to be. But you lose yourself in that. You know, and you find yourself in these kind of relationships, not just romantic, but your relationships in general, where people think that you like one thing and you don't. But you, like, morph into just fucking doing and being what they like and want you to be, because that's how you feel that you get accepted in the world. And, you know, look, there's a lot of different factors that play a role in that. There'll be a lot of kind of people that have neurodiversity or are neurodivergent, sorry, who will put that down to being neurodivergent, and they will say it's a trait of that. And there's probably something in that as well. But I do think that if you grow up in an environment where the person that's supposed to be supporting you into finding a deep and meaningful sense of self is the very same person that places themselves at the center of the universe, then you're likely to develop your sense of self by morphing into the person that's around you, because that's how you got love when you were in the house and when you were in the home growing up. So you enter into a relationship believing the only way to make yourself lovable is to be the version of yourself that the person in front of you needs. And of course, actually, to develop a true sense of self is to dare to be myself, and to know that some of you won't like me or won't want to be in a relationship with me as a result of that. And that's cool and that's fine, because when I do find the people that are willing to love me or like me or respect me when I'm being truly authentic and in myself, will actually be my tribe. And so what you'll realize is that you have a much smaller circle, but the people within your circle love you for who you are. When you have people who love you for who you are, you feel in any moment that you are able to express the true way that you feel. And so as a result, when you express the true way that you feel, you are met with love and compassion for the true way that you feel, not met by love and compassion for being the person that you think that they need you to be. Let me take a breath. That's a really good question. I don't know. I don't know if I answered it much fully. Let's go on to another one here. Hang on. Sometimes there's typos in them, so I have to try and. I sometimes get confused as to whether I deserve unconditional love or if I'm still trying to prove my worth. I don't fully understand the question, what this person is asking, but, and that'll show you that I'm picking these at random. But what I would say is that I believe that the only time where there is true unconditional love, potentially, is between a parent and a child. Now, I do believe that you can love somebody in a way that feels unconditional, but in a romantic relationship, that you can, or in a friendship, in any kind of relationship, there are conditions, right? And there should be conditions. Like if you start abusing me, then I may still feel a sense that I love you, but I will work towards breaking that bond, and eventually the love would probably, likely, it may take a long, time here and there, but will dissipate. But when it's a parent and a child, that is the only time when I do think that love should be unconditional. You're supposed to receive that unconditional love from the moment that you were born by a loving parent, right? They're supposed to love you in the full range of emotions and show you that unconditional love. And it's that unconditional love under the gaze of that parent that gives you a sense of self-love. You believe that yourself is deserving of love because you've been shown that by a parent. So if you never got shown that, then you're probably not going to believe that you're deserving of love because you've never been shown that, right? And your brain was developing at its fastest rate when there was somebody else making you center of the universe, making themselves the center of the universe. That is a good question. Why does it disgust me to think about caring for them when they're old? Man, I've been having loads of conversations with people recently about this, and well, it makes perfect fucking sense, right? When the very person that was supposed to look after you when you were in your most vulnerable state, when you were a child, and they should be there for you really throughout your most vulnerable states when you're an adult. If you've got somebody that's done the fucking opposite and it's just been abusive and horrible and all of that to you, then it makes sense that as they start to need you, right, and they start to reach an age where they need your support now, it makes perfect sense that you're fucking disgusted with it. And I know that might be hard for some people to do. And that's why, I'm fucking sick and tired of the idea that to be spiritual or to be on a healing journey is to fucking dub your spirit experience down and to, be able to see things, everything through a loving gaze and, in this kind of acceptable way and, love and light. And there are people that are like that, whose personalities are more like that, and fucking great. But it's not the ultimate ideal. Let's talk about fucking truth. If your parent has been fucking horrible and abusive to you your whole life, and now all of a sudden they're getting old and they start needing you to care for them, and society now expects you to fucking step up and take the role of caring for them, and they're still fucking horrible, and they tend to get worse. That's the truth as they get fucking older, right? So, look, you're not going to fucking approach that lovingly. Now, there will be people that do have this experience where their parent gets old and they start to see them through a slightly different lens, and they're able to find love as a result of that. And I think that's great. I think it's brilliant. But that's, not everybody gets that fucking sort of love story ending like that. What do? Pretend that their experience is, not as fucking horrible as it is? Or do we... why can't we just let people have their truth, even if it makes us feel uncomfortable? I would argue if you can't do that, it's fucking you that needs to do a bit of work, not the person who has the difficult emotions. So this one says, I really struggle with gratitude. I'm often told that I need to find reasons to be grateful, but gratitude makes me feel worse. I think I'm sort of assuming that this person is saying that they're always told to find gratitude for their parents. But listen, I don't think you need to feel grateful to somebody that's just fucking wholly abusive. If the reality is that they're horrible to you all of the time, you don't have to find reasons to be grateful for them. You don't have to find reasons to be grateful for them. I just think that's true. I do think that there's some bypassing that goes on with gratitude in general. I know some people who swear by gratitude lists, and they do a gratitude list every morning, and it really helps them. And I think that's great. And I think if it does help you and it really, really works and gives you a deep sense of gratitude, then keep doing it. But when I write a gratitude list, I write down all of the reasons why I should be grateful. When I feel shit, I write them all down. And now I've got a massive fucking guilt list in front of me with all of the reasons why I should be grateful, and I don't feel grateful. So now I just feel like fucking guilty even more guilty for the fact that I don't feel very grateful in the moment. I would argue that gratitude comes when I lean into my difficult experiences and emotions, be with them, let them pass through, know that sometimes I'm not going to feel grateful, sometimes I'm going to feel bloody ungrateful for all of the things, and I don't want to get stuck in this perpetual state of being ungrateful, but actually I don't get stuck there if I allow it to move through me and feel supported to do that, and then gratitude comes back again. That's what works for me. And so like, I just think that you, like, there's too much of like, you should feel like this, and if you've got a parent, here's where you need to get to. You need to reach a place where you feel like this. Who fucking gets to decide that? Who gets to decide that? I think that you should work on allowing yourself to feel how you truly feel, and find people that let you feel that in your life. Okay, here's one. I fantasize a lot about exposing them to everyone who thinks they are a good person. Does this make me the bad one? Does this make me the bad? No, man. Listen, let me tell you this. When you are being fucking smear campaigned, right? It is horrendous, right? It seeps into every area of your life. You see someone that you haven't seen for a while and you think, fucking hell, have they been part of the smear campaign? Do I need to like spend a little bit of time at the beginning of saying hello to let them know that I'm a good person? And you start interacting with everybody from this place of lack, from this place of like wondering whether they've been told that you're some sort of person that you're not. So it seeps into every bit of your life. Meanwhile, like, you may block them on all social media and then bump into someone, they're like, oh, I saw your mum the other day and she's, oh, what an amazing person. It's like amazing to see that she's doing this lovely thing for charity. And of course you want to go, fuck me, man. Are you under the spell as well? Let me tell you what they're really like. Of course you want to do that. Like, that's perfectly human to want to do that. Do I think you should do it? I fucking wouldn't begrudge you doing it, but I don't think it helps in the long run. I do think it can be useful when you feel like you're being smear campaigned to reach out to the people close to you and say, here's what I believe's happening. And I know how powerful this person is, or I know how manipulative this is. I don't want to call them powerful, gives them too much credit. I know how manipulative this person is, and I've got a little bit of fear around the fact that they might get hold of you and start to turn you. Because so if you feel like you're being turned at any point by what they say, can you just get in touch with me and like speak to me, and I'll tell you the truth. And please trust me. You're close friends. I don't know. I think we'll probably be like, yeah, of course, we're fucking on your side. We get it. But like, you might want to do that. But I understand it doesn't make you a bad. It fucking doesn't make you a bad person to want to expose an abusive person for being abusive. I just think that we live in a society where your silence will fucking expose them with grace. And I've been on the end of a smear campaign. Yeah, a fucking prolonged one that is probably still going on to this day. And I'll tell you what won through is my silence and me going on and living my life and not getting involved. And people will see the truth in the end. The people that truly matter will. And then you'll probably expose a few dickheads that are in your life as well. Yeah, okay, I'm going to do this as the final question because I said this would be bite-sized today. What if I'm the only one in my family who sees them for what they really are? Like, it's really easy, like, and I could play to the gallery here, yeah, and I could give you a really nice answer where I go, yeah, fuck that, then fuck them, you're the one that stands for truth, move on and all of that. But it's hard, man. It's hard because everyone can be under the spell. It's easy to put people under the spell when they want to ignore the discomfort that comes with the reality of the situation. So it's not easy. And I think that, like, it's okay. Like, let's say you've got a toxic dad, right? And you're the only one that sees it. You've broke free from it. You've sort of did a bit of openly talking about your experience. You've reduced contact, say, with your dad as a result of that. and you got brothers and sisters, and you sort of all get on. You're not the closest with all of them. You're closer with one maybe than another, and that you still want to see the other one. They don't want to see your dad as in the way that you see him. It is okay to wear a slightly different cloak there. It is okay to think, you know what, for the sake of my relationship with this brother or with this sister, I'm just going to not talk about it. I'm not going to try and push my need for them to see it from my side of the view, my point of view. I'm going to still see them. I'm even just going to play along a little bit because it makes that easier. That's cool, man, isn't it? I don't know, unless you want to be a fucking spiritual giant or some sort of saint, then that's up to you, but I don't. You know what I want most of the time? I want to feel all right. I want to be able to take the route in my life that gives me the most freedom. And I think we're all made up of a number of complex, messy, different versions of ourselves. And the more you can learn about them and lean into them, the better you're going to feel. You might see a few saints on Instagram, but I'll bet you 90% of them are full of shit in real life. And I try my best to not be too, to get a guru complex, because it's not always easy, by the way. Yeah, when people are telling you, when you get a lot of love, you got to be careful not to believe your own hype. And I'm sort of fortunate that I've got a family at home, and I walk through the door and, they humble me, And again, like I say this, and I say this countless times, but don't get it twisted. I do the podcast, I make the content, I put myself out there in the way that I do, and I'm a good communicator in that sense, but my family will tell you that I'm not a great communicator. So don't think that I'm living this kind of well-to-do together life, because I fucking ain't. I'm as messy as everybody else, and that's why I try not to give too much advice. I'm maybe a little bit articulate and able to talk about this stuff in a good way, but that's about as far as it probably goes. Yeah. All right, I'm going to leave it there. I've enjoyed this. It's nice doing the questions like that. Brings us something a little bit different, doesn't it? And as usual, I have been Josh Connolly, and this has definitely been Dysfunctional. I did tell you it would be dysfunctional, so thank you for sticking around till the end here. And if you have enjoyed this podcast, then please help me to grow Dysfunctional by sharing with your friends on social media. You can find me at Josh_FFW. And then wherever you're listening to this or watching this, please make sure that you've liked and subscribed, left us a 5-star review and a comment if your platform allows it. And I'll see you on the next one.